So I'm very sad to see what's happening to Far Cry New Dawn because I genuinely enjoyed the Far Cry franchise. Mostly it's about going to exotic places and it has like really cool graphics and you're fighting crazy people and it's really cool, I like the series. But it seems that New Dawn is not a commercial success, at least not by the metrics that we have available right now. And I tried to figure out why this is. Now, as you guys know, the ones who follow me, I'm not doing extremely well financially because I'm trying to buy furniture for my house. So I only had enough money to buy one game this month, and I was hoping that I'll stream it on my live stream channel and probably make a couple of bucks from donations and super chats while streaming it. So it's going to be like an investment rather than me indulging myself into the video games. Now, initially, I wanted to buy Metro Exodus because that one is coming out. But unfortunately, like my PayPal balance wouldn't allow me, right? Like I was just a dollar short or so, and I decided to go with the Far Cry Angry Chica edition. And I purchased the game. I actually did a playthrough of it, and I think I understand why a lot of people don't like it. Now, again, I can't speak for other people, but I will tell you why I think that, for me at least, the game isn't worth the money, right? First of all, right out of bat, it's a complete reskin of the previous Far Cry. Like you're playing the exact same map. It's literally like the same game with a little bit of reskin here and there, and you do get like some upgrades and different weapons, and that's cool and all. But yeah, it's kind of fair that the game is cheaper than a full price game, right? I think it's like $40 or something because of that. So it's not really like a standalone game. I would consider it more of an expansion. Now, with that said, the main issue that I'm having with it is the AI. Like when I started playing, at one point there were like 3 or 4 people shooting at me, and I decided to stand still, and I wasn't taking any damage. And I was playing like on the hardest mode of difficulty, and that was like just unacceptable. Like if the game offers me no challenge, there's no point in playing it. Like I would rather watch a movie by that point. Like games are supposed to have gameplay. Like they're supposed to challenge the player, especially if the player opts to play on the hardest level of difficulty. And you can see through my gameplay through, right? Like it's all uploaded. You can watch it. Like honestly, that did not get me hooked. Now the story is also atrocious, right? Like a lot of the people in the chat pointed out that it seems like a soy bomb has exploded in that place. Like an estrogen bomb has exploded because the land is now pink and filled with angry chicas. And it's like women just do not act this way in real life. And I'm not talking about the main protagonist because, okay, maybe I could get immersed myself if I suspend the disbelief that, it happens that 2 women manage to, I don't know, control this gang of people. But as you're fighting, you find like enemies, right? Like actual women that are acting like street thugs. They're the type of women that I suppose you walk down the street, and you find like this girl, and she looks at you, and it's like, what are you looking at, fool? And she's coming over to kick your ass, type of womanhood. And that is so immersion breaking for me. Like I know real humans do not act this way in any way, shape, or form. Like it's pretty much like fighting an army of women that are suffering from the worst case of toxic masculinity, as the left would point it. And I guess like maybe this is because of me criticizing social justice and intersectionality on my channel, and maybe it's because of I constantly read articles and I see people getting fired and suffering because of this ideology that I genuinely do not like these people. I do not like these people that have this ideology, and I understand that the developers probably have it, and I genuinely do not want to support them with my money. And I can overlook ideology. I can separate the art from the artist. But this was so blatant, like it's so in your face that it was insufferable, right? Like the game takes place, I believe, in southern United States, right? And literally, like in the beginning, every person you meet is a minority, and it's either a woman or a minority of some sort. And like again, like I don't mind if when I played Resident Evil 6, sorry, not 6, I believe it was Resident Evil 5, yeah, the one that takes place in Africa, right? And like almost everyone besides Chris is a minority, and I don't mind because the game takes place in Africa. It makes sense, but this game takes place in the United States in the southern part. Like this wasn't done by accident. Like the developers really forced their diversity in, and again, it's like it's not that it's bad. Like other people will probably not have a problem with it, but it just tells me that all of the developers were suffering from a bad case of intersectionality, and I don't want to support this ideology. I don't want to support the ideology that constantly tells gamers that they're sexist, racist, homophobic. Like, why would I pay money so people can call me a racist and a sexist? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, you go to gaming conventions nowadays, right? And you get filled, like absolutely filled with posters like cosplay is not consent. Very disrespectful for geeks, right? Like as if I don't know. As if I don't know that it's not okay to grab a woman by the ass without her permission. As if the moment I leave the convention, it's perfectly fine to grab a woman by the coochie, but if you're in the convention, no, that's not allowed. Like imagine just how offensive it would be if you would go into a black neighborhood and you would put up signs like, just because my wallet is visible, it doesn't give you consent to steal it. Like obviously it would be incredibly offensive and people would speak out against it and they would be outraged, right? And rightfully so. So why is it, that when they do it to gamers, they just don't understand why it's offensive? Like you're basically thinking that people aren't educated and the fact that it's not okay to grab women by the ass. You're thinking that it's pretty much acceptable, I guess, to assume that innocent people are going to do something wrong, because that's literally what it is about, right? So no, I do not like this ideology. I do not like it one bit, and I do not want to support it with my money. And I do understand that pretty much every game that comes out has developers that are part of intersectionality, but this was just so in your face, like it's so blatant. It's shut up, Kitty. I'm talking about intersectionality, right? See, it's even hurting my cat right now. Um, it's just an evil ideology, right? Right. So no, I think that this might have to do with some of the people not buying the game. The AI being really dumb, I think, also helps them. It's also that the story is kind of bland and uninteresting, at least in the beginning, right? It didn't really manage to captivate me at all. And it's kind of unfortunate, because I thought it has something going, but I think the villain is just not really that cool. I mean, the Far Cry 3, they had a really good villain. They had an amazing villain, and he was a minority, by the way. And again, like it made sense. Like, okay, you're on an island, and there's a lot of people up there that are of different color, and that's fine. Like I didn't complain about Far Cry 3. Of course it can have minorities, right? And then you go to Far Cry 4, and there you got another good villain in Ming. And yeah, again, it's filled with minorities, but it takes place in a different country, right? But when you play Far Cry 5, okay, that takes place in the United States, right? And it's in the southern place. Like, why is the United States, like, literally every single person you meet a minority? And why are, like, there female villains, that are acting like mobsters? Like, it's not even mobsters, like gangbangers, I guess. Like, female gangbangers, do you get to see that? Maybe it's not in my country. Maybe not in Romania. I don't see women walking around with crowbars intimidating people. Telling people that if they don't do what they say, they will crack open their skulls. I don't get to see that. Maybe that's a little bit more progressive than I expect. I don't know. Right, so after playing the game for a little bit, I decided I want a refund. There was no point in continuing. It was really, really unenjoyable. And I have played some really bad games. Like, here's the thing, right? This is unbelievable, but I have played Life is Strange. I've played episode 1, I've played episode 2, and that is so over the top, it's actually funny in a way. Like, Life is Strange episode 2, season 2, right? You play as a kid, like a Mexican kid, and you're trying to break into Mexico illegally. Now, like, you're literally going to be an illegal in Mexico. And there's this guy, right, this MAGA guy, which at one point catches you and kicks you in the face. And it's like, well, welcome to America or something like that. And it was actually funny because at least that game gives you, I don't know, like a vision into how a progressive person views the United States. Like, it's so bad that it's actually playable. Um, so I don't know why I like that one, but with Far Cry, it's just bad. My opinion, right? I'm trying to explain why the sales are down. The gaming industry is in a bad spot right now, by the way. Like a lot of companies aren't making a buck with their games. And you know what scares me? Because normally you would think, okay, if the company isn't making a buck, maybe they will have an introspective, you know? Maybe they will understand that pissing off the fans isn't a good idea. Maybe they will start hiring people to actually talk with the fans and find out what the fans want. No, usually what happens is that games that aren't selling, like products that aren't selling, they will say, okay, it's because we're not diverse enough. Like we need to be more diverse. And when that happens, like it leads to a vicious circle. Like that's really what happens in comic books, by the way. Like comic books are saying the same thing. It's like, why aren't we selling? Oh, you need to be more diverse. You need to do more. And then they get even more diverse, and they double down, and even more numbers drop. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But again, I think the gaming market is doing quite poorly. There was even an article saying that Wall Street is suffering because of the gaming market right now. Like you got EA Games having its stock crash. Ubisoft isn't doing pretty well. Blizzard and Activision, they fired a lot of people. They're doing quite poorly financially. All of this put together is really affecting the industry, which is $1 billion industry. It's making more money than Hollywood. Very few people know that. Yeah. Americans, you should play your video games in order to not ruin your nation's economy, I guess. Let me know what you think. I plan on doing more videos on geeky stuff, like talking about video games and pop culture. Politics is starting to depress me, honestly. Like every single time I talk about politics, it's just getting me down. So I think I should talk about some positive things every now and then. I'll still make politics videos. Probably like 75% of my content is going to be politics. But I just want to, talk about some entertainment and culture every now and then, because that's how I started off my channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe.